June 30th, 2025. 135 workers arrive at the Coca-Cola bottling plant in American Canyon, California. The doors are locked. Their jobs gone. 30 years of operations ended overnight. This is the 5th Coca-Cola facility closure in America this year. Nearly 900 workers unemployed nationwide. California faces an $18 billion deficit while businesses flee. If one of America's most iconic brands can't survive in the Golden State, who can? The American Canyon plant wasn't struggling. This 350,000 square foot facility had been producing Powerade, Minute Maid and vitamin water since 1994. For 3 decades, it was a cornerstone of Napa County's economy. When a $280 billion global giant closes 5 plants in 1 year, that's not a business decision. That's a warning siren. California was once America's manufacturing powerhouse, Silicon Valley, Hollywood, aerospace. But in 2025, 3% of all businesses relocated out of state. Chevron moved its headquarters out. Tesla followed. Blue Diamond Growers closed its Sacramento plant, cutting 600 jobs. Fortune 500 titans choosing anywhere but California. Workers received minimal notice. About 10 employees were retained through August for shutdown tasks. The rest? Dismissed. People who worked there for years became unemployed practically overnight. So what's driving this? California's minimum wage increased to $16.90 per hour in 2026. For fast food workers, it jumped to over $20 per hour. Add mandatory paid sick leave, expanded family leave, and strict overtime regulations. Labor costs in California are among the highest in the nation. But it's not just wages. The California Environmental Quality Act requires extensive environmental reviews. While June 2025 reforms created some exemptions, decades of regulatory uncertainty made long-term planning a gamble. California has the highest state income tax, up to 13.3%. A proposed wealth tax sparked what Bloomberg called a billionaire exodus. Larry Page, Peter Thiel, and other billionaires officially changed residency to avoid California's tax net. Energy costs? Among the highest in the continental United States. Business permits? Bureaucratic mazes. In December 2025, San Francisco sued Coca-Cola and other manufacturers over ultra-processed foods. This is California's regulatory climate, where products sold for decades suddenly become lawsuit targets. Compare that to Texas. No state income tax, business-friendly regulations, lower energy costs. Tennessee, Florida, Arizona, states competing with tax incentives. California lost 58,000 manufacturing jobs in 2025. That's not evolution, that's hemorrhaging. California's budget? After a $97 billion surplus in 2021-2022, the state now faces an $18 billion deficit for 2026 and 2027. The state solved deficits of $27 billion, $55 billion and $15 billion in consecutive years. Each year, California patches holes with one-time fixes. The structural problems remain unsolved. According to the Los Angeles Times, California's exodus isn't just billionaires, it's regular people renting U-Hauls too. Families loading their belongings into moving trucks, heading to Nevada, Idaho, Texas. Anywhere rent is lower and jobs more secure. Take Maria Gonzalez, a hypothetical worker, 20 years at the plant. Started as a line operator, became shift supervisor. Saved for her kids' college. June 30th, she's unemployed at 52 in one of the most expensive regions in America. Multiply Maria by 135. Each one is a mortgage at risk. Healthcare lost, retirement drained. And it's not just the workers, it's the local businesses that relied on them. Coca-Cola's statement, ongoing portfolio optimization. Translation, California was too expensive, but Coca-Cola isn't struggling. Analysts project earnings per share will increase from $2.99 in 2025 to $4.26 by 2030. This wasn't survival, This was profitability. California's margins were too thin. Coca-Cola closed sites in Salinas, 81 jobs, Dunedin, Florida, 198 jobs, and multiple locations. Nearly 900 workers nationwide affected. In December 2025, Coca-Cola cut 75 corporate jobs at its Atlanta headquarters. The closure sent shockwaves through Napa County. Local officials offered retraining programs, but for what? Manufacturing jobs that no longer exist? Service positions paying half? The cruel irony? Many workers voted for policies designed to help them. Higher wages, stronger protections, only to watch their jobs disappear because those policies made their employer's balance sheet unsustainable. Where was Governor Gavin Newsom? Publicly? Largely silent on the specific closures. No major press conference, no emergency intervention, no task force to retain manufacturing jobs. In his State of the State address on January 8, 2026, Newsom struck a defiant tone. California is not silent, not retreating, he declared. He touted California's economic size and innovation. But defiance doesn't create jobs. Rhetoric doesn't reopen factories. For the 135 workers, Newsom's speech rang hollow. Critics were swift. Republican lawmakers cited the closure as proof of California's hostile business environment. Business groups warned more closures are inevitable without reform. Even some Democrats expressed private concern. Coca-Cola offered limited severance, not enough to offset months of unemployment in one of America's most expensive markets. No commitment to keep other California operations open. Union leaders had little leverage. If California's cost structure makes manufacturing unprofitable, no legal protection will keep factories open. Economists are divided. Progressive analysts argue California needs workforce development and clean energy investment. Conservative economists say California needs immediate tax and regulation cuts. Both agree. The status quo is unsustainable. Meanwhile, other states actively recruit California businesses. Texas Governor Greg Abbott publicly invited manufacturers with tax incentives. Tennessee launched Welcome California Businesses campaigns. Newsom's silence speaks volumes. No job summit, no retention plan, just political deflection. This isn't just about 135 jobs. This is about the future of American manufacturing and the choices states make about competitiveness versus social policy. California positioned itself as the progressive leader. Higher wages, stronger protections, aggressive environmental regulations. These aren't inherently bad policies. The question is, at what cost? And who pays? When Coca-Cola closes a factory, shareholders barely notice. Executives keep bonuses. But the 135 workers? They pay. Their families pay. Their communities pay. This raises uncomfortable questions California's leaders seem unwilling to confront. If California can't retain a Coca-Cola plant, what businesses can it retain? If the state faces an $18 billion deficit despite the highest tax rates, where is the money going? If 3% of businesses leave annually, when does exodus become irreversible? When does protecting workers through regulation become counterproductive if it eliminates the jobs you're trying to protect? These questions require honest conversations. But those conversations aren't happening in Sacramento. Instead, there's denial and insistence that California remains the world's 5th largest economy, as if size alone justifies policies driving businesses away. California is caught in a policy trap. Progressive activists demand stronger regulations. Businesses leave. Tax revenue declines. The state raises taxes. More businesses leave. The spiral continues. The most tragic part: workers who benefit least lose the most. The wealthy absorb higher costs. Executives relocate seamlessly. But line workers, they're left behind, casualties of a political battle they didn't start. Coca-Cola's decision is a warning to any state believing it can impose unlimited regulatory and tax burdens without consequences. There's a breaking point. For many businesses, California has reached it. Does California course correct? Does Newsom acknowledge the crisis and propose real reforms, comprehensive regulatory streamlining and tax competitiveness? Or does the exodus continue until California's economy resembles its population trend, shrinking, aging, dependent on ultra-wealthy individuals who haven't left yet? The American Canyon closure won't be the last. More factories will close. More families will load U-Hauls and drive east. Unless something fundamentally changes, California's manufacturing sector will wither. The workers will be told their sacrifice was necessary for progress, that higher wages and stronger regulations are worth job losses, that California's moral leadership justifies economic pain. But when you're 52, unemployed after 20 years, facing foreclosure, moral leadership doesn't pay the mortgage. Progressive values don't feed your kids. Political rhetoric doesn't replace your pension. The American Canyon workers understand something California's political class refuses to accept. You can't have a worker-friendly economy if there are no jobs. Coca-Cola made its choice. The question is, will California?